Hello, hello, hello. Let's go through the normal run through. Can you hear me? I will look at your messages. Juliet, where have you been? I hope you're okay. Hi, Francine, and Kenan, and Dave, Stefan, Verpy, hi. Karen, hello, hello, and Cindy so far. So, can you hear me? Yes. Thank you, Verpy. I hope your week's been okay. I am very well, Kenan. It's been quite since the New Year's, a time of reflection, as always. It's the journey that I am on is as an artist. Actually started when I was little. I was very prolific. Teachers often had my mother bring me in, talk to them, talk to her, saying, your daughter seems to be copying some of the work we're giving her to do. And my mother said, no, she's not doing that. And she actually can feel it and create it, though that probably wasn't the words that she used then. And I went through all kinds of desires. I wanted to be an actress. Almost. I had a lead role in a film, but I met this rock star and fell in love and went on tour and wound up in England. I was a model as well. Did that for a bit in England to have an income. And then one day, after a tour, well, maybe in the middle of it was after the tour, Animals tour, David and I had decided to stop taking certain things, and we had been in Hawaii, and I stopped eating meat. So by the time I got back to England, I woke up paralyzed. Just want to say hi to Carmen and Nikki. Welcome. And my spiritual awakening, it was a signpost that woke me up to realize that I was born, hi Denise, I was born with the soul of an artist, and that opened up something inside me, a passion inside me, and all I wanted to do was to create. And I went back to what I used to do when I was little. And all those other desires, the modeling and the acting and all kinds of other things, changed. And here I am, every year, discovering more and more about art and beauty and its purpose. And as you know, I always sign things in beauty. And beauty, I want to talk about what beauty is. You know, there's something very deep, intuitively, in every one of us that knows the beautiful aspect of life. We cherish it. We recognize it. We'll be walking down the street and I'll suddenly see a crocus or a snowdrop coming out from the snow. And I stop. And I've often talked about how important it is in those moments to wait before you take that phone call, not the phone call, but the photo on your phone, and feel it. Because beauty is found in the silence. It's felt in the silence. And you're connected to the oneness that we all share. The plants, the animals, from one human being to the other. It's in that quiet. And that's what I've discovered art. The purpose of at least my art is to reflect, to capture that beauty, that silence, so that when you see it, you might stop and listen and feel that to you, within you. And there's so much going too fast. And we miss that, the art of living, the beauty, the silence, the listening, the feeling, and most of all, your soul intention. So when I started to wake up to my soul as an artist, and by the way, historically, we've always, cultures, people, we always knew that it was through creativity, the art of living, and spiritual awakening practices. We knew that that would contact that stillness within us. We dared. And I have to say, sadly, that our society, that our culture that we've created is so superficial. And it's through the light of the soul, in that stillness, we have to have moments of that. And in a very peculiar way, COVID has given us that hit in the head to say, wake up, see the beauty of who you are, take the time, slow down, stop. So, when I woke up to this and meditated and went through healing crises and discovered the importance of nutrition, and the first step was to take care of my body and wake up and learn to conduct my emotions and my thoughts, because I had a divorce around that time. My art helped me transition and transform. And it took the form of directing my art into reliefs on the wall. I sculpt with light. And I want to share with you the first steps in doing that tonight. So let me get up the first image. Here we are. I discovered that because the importance of art for me was to awaken that moment of stillness in you, to where you might stop and feel something and awaken it in me and in you, and we'd have this oneness of togetherness, that we'd realize that we're all connected. And if you look closely at this image, what it is, initially I worked with the line, the curve, and the space. And as you might see, this was the doorway from my main bedroom into my dressing room and into my bathroom. And you'll see that certain lines don't connect to each other. and the very sharp lines makes the relief visible. The flow connects you to the space, which is the invisible aspects, your soul aspects of who we are. And your mind, because we have to have definition, we've been trained to look for definition, you will connect those lines. And in order to connect those lines, you are taken into your own creative aspect, your imagination. And that comes from your soul to be able to do that. So it's well, I lived there for 5 years, and it caught a lot of people. They stopped, and I took it into the corridor. The whole house was worked on this. I'll show you another image. Will this transition? Come, come, come. Where are you? Bear with me. Don't know what's going on here. One day, I see what happened. Okay, let's try turning it on. This was one of the downstairs corridors. And you can see again that situation where there was a space, so that there's a triangle of relationship between the sharp line that makes things visible, which is the highest aspect of the masculine principle. The flow is the bridge to that space. So you have a triangle of the sharp, the flow, the masculine, the feminine, and the soul aspect of who we are. So that what I wanted to do and guided to be inspired to do and create were experiences, as opposed to here is a piece of art. But even in my paintings and my sculptures and my decorating, and there's always this principle of the three, finding the marriage of those three in whatever I do, and inspire you to do the same. If you're an artist, musician, dancer, human being, try to connect to those three principles, the triangle. And first of all, have the intention that you will live from your highest soul intention into the marriage with the form, the material world, so that everything you do will be of harmony, even in cooking. If you're from that place, connecting from the soul first, that's the beauty, the silence, the love of yourself. Awaken that. That's what I want to inspire you to do. That's what my whole life is about, and my artwork. So I can show you a bit more of that house. Here we come. So everything, you should, my workers were quite something. They couldn't believe it. So I also bring in symbols, and of course the angelic world is very important to me. This was upstairs. It was the last thing I did. I almost didn't do, but I did. We had a ladder that went up 3 stories, and this is looking up at her. And it was quite something. And I have to say that there was a time after that was completed. I was there for 5 years. I got the guidance that I had to make artwork that could travel. And so I started making my sculptures, this sacred relationship which I will show you next week. But in the meantime, I want to see your messages. Hang on a minute. Thank you. Juliet, I want to inspire you. I want to inspire every one of you because it's in every one of you in some way. It's everywhere. And before we go on, Francine, I would like to thank you for your donation. It was very lovely. And also you have inspired me to make those bird cakes. I haven't gotten around to it because I had to take down my decorations and start the new year and stuff. But thank you, I will be doing that. And I might have to ask you to help me. But in the meantime, going back to that particular way of creating the walls, they were like living walls of sculpture. I'll go back to that again. Hang on a minute. What happens when you're doing that type of sculpture? As you can see, there's one side is disappearing and another side's very formed in the angel. It's all very subtle sometimes, but the thing that's really amazing, it makes it living walls of sculpture, as I said, because the shadows change. As the Hawaiians say, that the night becomes the day and the day becomes the night. Well, it's like you're outside because you're in touch with the movement of the moon and the sun. And it's moving all the time, so it's not a static sculpture. It takes you onto the form by the nature of the sharp line, which its intention is to do that, but it's not to give you a defined thing. It's like that staircase. One of my builders thought it was a wave, another one thought it was a tree. And it gives you, because you go into your own creative world with the freedom to interpret whatever you think it is, but the symbol, the intention is that you touch your higher self and take it into whatever you do. And it was quite remarkable. This particular house was a farmhouse. So upstairs where the angel is, I had a gallery and a meditation area, really serious meditation work, so that when you're going upstairs, it's like you're traveling up to the discovery of your higher self. And it's sacred. So you wouldn't necessarily be put there because we respected whatever level the person coming into the house would be. So there was a small cottage where the kids had their bedrooms, and by that point some of them were going off to boarding school and things like that. So that level was telly and cooking and lovely get-together of people. And then you cross over a corridor and a conservatory I made to link the farmhouse, what was the barns and things. And as you went through, there was the graphic studio with all the files and things like that. And then you go into the next one is what used to repair the tractors, became the sculpture studio and painting. And then we had a small gym, and then we had an outdoor atelier where the really big sculptures would be, and then the last one was for the really get mucky My 8-foot sculptures were created in there. It's really nice having that amount of space. But what was amazing is that there was a young boy who came from South Africa to be with his uncle, who was one of my foremen. And his job, summer job, was to take away the rubble and put it in the skip. And when I was making the angel to be molded and then put up on the high apex of the barn, he had the job of moving it, because every time, like when the place where the tractors would be, the angel was there, and I'm working on her wings and everything, and he had to move her to the next room while they were converting that room. And when we finally got her up on the ceiling, he's there like with his mouth dropped going, I have to apologize to that angel, because every time I had to move her, I would swear at her. And he goes, now she's just so beautiful. I can't believe it. I'm just so happy to have been part of that. It's, yeah. And the thing, they weren't used to the fact that someone, their employer, being my employee, like the electrician, he had to work underneath the floorboards and things, but he started to get such happiness about his wires. It became like an art form. So I know that there was a lot of love and pride and such beauty of wires underneath the floorboards. And the same with the plumber and the thing was is that they were staying out in the stables. They were living out there. And I would be up before them because I was just so inspired, and I had this huge angle grinder so that in that white hallway I'm carving, so that by the time they got in, there was a different structure, because it was a living experience of following the incentive, the impressions of what I was being given that had to be there in order to make it alive. And it was like, it was very hard to stay depressed or sad in that place. And then, of course, there came the time that I was guided to say that I had let go of it. I had to sell it. I was getting too identified that that place was me, as opposed to who I really was. It helped open me to me. But wow, that was an incredible 5 years, I have to say. And then it took a while for me to say, yes, I will sell it. And I was one of the house artists in a gallery in San Francisco called October Gallery. And every time I went there, I'd bring my brochure of the house and my sculptures and things. And whoever I talked to, I would share this and use those brochures as a way to open a conversation, because art is a conversation. It is an opening to where we meet each other, we share each other. We're not alone. And that summer when I went back to San Francisco and then decided to go on to Hawaii, it was really peculiar. It's like, who am I? I'm not those brochures anymore. Yeah, it was something I did, but it was, the process was just so more than what it was. Anyway, enough for me chatting away. What are you up to? Hi, Donald. Welcome. So, I want to hear what you've been up to. That's true, Juliet. Do you know what they did? They started, the men started to bring their grandmothers and their mothers and their children and stuff like that to see more than just their work. It's the experience of being involved with that. And the other thing I did was that I found what I called fairy glass, so that when in certain lights you could see through it, and on other lights it would be like a rainbow, and then it would go really dark rainbows, like oil slicks. And they couldn't believe it. At first they thought I was really out with the fairies. But then it changed. They got it, and they started telling people it was fairy glass. It's so cool. Yeah. So what have you guys been up to since New Year's? Tell me. You know, it's like we have to decide what images we look at and what we ponder for this whole thing to happen. So we do have a choice. Do we want images being created that are abusive, dead in a way, superficial, or do we want to reflect the highest that we are and discover that ourselves? We have a choice. And do you know, making the process, Francine, of creating that was creating me. And then to let go of it, it was realizing that I carried that within me. And it doesn't matter whether I'm in a little place or in a one that I created, because I'm creating me every day. I have a choice every day. What kind of colors do I want to see in my thoughts? And Denise, what are you saying? The effect of light and surroundings on color never really clicked with me until I wanted my new living room to have the same color blue as your old flat. But it was awful. The blue was so cold and stark. In the old flat, it was lovely. So it's quite possible, Denise, that you were meant to live with a different aspect of light, a different color. So did you change that blue, Denise? Yvonne, I have to say that we all have things of our past that inspire us. And when I came to England, I never knew about Art Nouveau. And David had this one, like, nut bowl of a woman for the center of our little coffee table that I said, wow, that's really beautiful. What is it? And then I went on this journey of discovering Art Nouveau, and it really inspired me. And as I said a couple streams ago when we talked about the history of art, then it's they were the Victorian era of very, I mean, I love a lot of things from the Victorian era, but they were very form orientated. And Art Nouveau broke out. And they were very into a spiritual dimension, particularly Hunt. He traveled and he brought back a lot of spiritual feelings. And they did inspire me. So I had a phase where I was just creating that. I did a wall of sculptures long before my personality actually awoke to what I'm talking about now. And that's what we do. We go through being inspired and then awakening and taking it further. So What do you think, people? You've been hibernating in the woods. Very healthy. Very healthy, Karen. With the fairies as well, as Juliet's wondering. Jenny's been working. Donald, you've been in a lot of pain. Oh dear. Verpy's been back to work. The thing is, you can be sitting there on the way. You have a wonderful nature around you that I keep seeing your photos and stuff. And goodness, the oneness of the winter. That would be lovely. Lisa says she's working and it's cold. Juliet says that she finds January a bit tricky and slowly emerging. I think that's the purpose of January, is that we sort of hibernate in order for us to listen and go inside and find that light. And COVID has increased that tendency. And Verby says it's really cold where she is. The wind is really hard and chilly now. Goodness. Yes, Donald, it would be warm in Florida. That's really good, Denise. A pale yellow, because that's the sun colors. Maybe, blue is very tranquilizing, and it calms in the color healing that I've been trained in. It's a really special color, but you probably needed sunlight so that you just shine. Verby, your apartment is windy. Okay. I bet you're hibernating under blankets. Do you have a hot water bottle? Because I've used one of those at times. I'm like the Princess and the Pea right now too. I've got a lot of blankets that I sleep under. And Jenny, how are you doing reading my book? I know, Francine, you have a wonderful heart in all the things that you are creating. So where are you with sparkling snow, Karen? Do you know when we used to go to Zermatt? And it was the one thing that really, really was special, seeing the reflection of all the little colors in the snow. It was really beautiful. And the Swiss, they are so colorful with all their ski outfits and everything like that. And the shh as you walked along. Really special. Yvonne says that she's been doing a lot of meditation and healing work on herself. The messages are going fast. In purpose to feel the connection to my higher self and the source of intuition to find my own path. Wonderful. Keep it going, Yvonne. You've been doing it for a while. Karen, you're in the mountains of Colorado. How incredible is that? That's nice. I think it's time for us to do our weekly visualization meditation. Julie, when the sky's gray, you love it because I dive into my artwork or a good book. Yeah. It's breathing in and breathing out. We have this cycle of light and gray and responding which way is healthy for you at the time to be one with nature. But I am going to get the image we can work with this week for the meditation. I think it's one I've got several to choose from. Let me think. I think we'll go with this one. Turn that one off, open that one. Here we go. I've been looking at this golden tree for weeks, thinking, when is the time that we can work with this? And today is the day. Because it's like going to the sun, which represents the higher aspect of who we are, and we're one with the tree because the branches are going up, connecting us with the sun, and we know the roots are there as well. So let's sit quietly or lie quietly, whatever is comfortable for you. And Donald, I should imagine you might be lying. So at first, open your eyes, keep your eyes open, and feel the sunlight and the unity between the branches touching heaven and the roots grounding, and there's the tree is the connecting aspect between above and below. And be still and allow your breath to slow and breathe in and hold it and release slowly. And feel the union of the sun and the earth and your body, connecting the two. Breathe in and hold it, feeling the connection, the oneness, and release slowly. One more time. Breathe in to color and hold it. Feel the earth and release. Feel the oneness we all share with each other. Now take your breath to your heart center. And see the crystal light within. Feel its radiance within your heart. And with your breath, expand the radiance throughout your body. From your head to your shoulders, to your hands, to your lungs. Slowly breathing in. Feel the radiance and take it flowing through your stomach, your hips, through your knees, your calves, your feet, into the earth. Now bring the flow of the radiance back up through your body, back to your heart center, and out through your head, through your crown center into the sky. And bring that light back to your heart, to your crystal light that's always there. Feel its beauty, its calm, its stillness. Now I want you to close your eyes and expand that crystal radiance out into the room you're sitting in. Feel your breath within and without, warming the room you're in, unifying your heart with the radiant crystal within. Now expand that light to your village, to your community, to your country. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Now expand it to surround the Mother Earth. Which wonderful, loving crystal light. Send the light and your love to the animal kingdom, to the plant kingdom, to all of humanity and Mother Nature and Mother Earth and Father Sky. And the universe. And as you return from the universe, bringing cosmic love of unity back to the earth, to all of us, and slowly return to your country, to your village, to your community, your loved ones and friends. Touch them with this cosmic love and unity and blessings. Slowly return to your room. And bring this cosmic love to your heart, to the crystal within. And take both of your hands and place it over your heart. And say thank you. I love myself. I love you. And in your own time, come back to the stream. You're welcome, Verpy. Thank you for being here and participating. I hoped it helped, Donald. It's like we have the voice of stillness. Unified in that quiet. It's difficult to say anything. It was very special. It was very deep, Juliet. I think each week we're getting to be like a group. Yes, Donald, I would very much like for you to you can call me tomorrow evening for sure. Juliet, I think that's a very good sign. And Jenny, I know the feeling when there's gaming going on in the same room. Yep. Well, that was a very interesting experience. If George wanted to take me out. I was a little bit not quite as awake about what I had to do as an artist, but I think it was just radiating out. Good, Verpy. I'm glad that it helped. By the way, anyone that follows Matthew, he's not ill. Why he couldn't come and do his live streaming last night. It was, he has a flat in a building sharing, and there's a leak in the building, and all the flats wanted to come together, and that was the meeting. They were trying to do it during Christmas, but not everyone was around. And the meeting happened to come at 7 o'clock, which is when his stream is. So I just want to let you know that. Hope he doesn't mind. But I saw a lot of people worried that he wasn't well, and he's very well, Budgie, I have to say. Very happy for him. And it's very interesting what you all are creating together. Last Sunday was quite interesting. Juliet, honestly, I've missed you too. Been wondering what's been going on. Verpy, yes, he's fine. Yeah. What isn't fine is that there's this reappearing leak because the pointing on, he's the top flat, the pointing apparently wasn't done great. And so now the leak is going not only through his place, but into people down below. Denise, you were quite right. You did have a mention, and for some reason I'm doing a revamp of my social media and everything. Not that you'll notice any difference, and you might. So I saw Yasmin didn't come back to me, and I don't know whether we'll do that. I've got you down as someone that's interested in having a group that discuss passing on. No, it's not the landlords, Juliet. It's the building, and they have a communal group that you probably know this, in London, if you have a house and you have a flat and there are loads of flats, the landlord and all the flats, they have this relationship of responsibility for the structure, and that's what they're working on. There's no problem except for the fact that there's a leak, and they'll all work it out. And he's fine. He's very well, and he loves his flat, and he loves doing the streams. So it's just a structural thing, and I don't think he needs you worrying about him that way. So, but thank you. And coming back to Denise and that group, Denise, I'm in this process of saying yes to creating and devoting my time more to my artwork. I've done a lot of moving, we've done COVID, I've done a lot of streaming, creating videos and all that. And I have my guidance now telling me I have to create more artwork. Juliet, it was Jasmine, we were talking about a death experience last week and how we handled that. And Yasmin said, why don't we create a group that just dedicates it to that topic? I'm not sure whether I have the time to do that. I was hoping Yasmin would be here. I haven't had a chance this week to contact her to see if she wanted to set it up, and then we could all participate. And I haven't had time to talk to her about it, but Juliet, that's what it was about. Working with how we deal with the cycle of life and death. And a lot of people have a lot of fear about that. And we were talking about how the Tibetan lamas work with how to accept the cycles, so that when you're alive, a lot of people don't live completely because they're frightened of dying. So if you live the moment, the whole aspect of death diminishes because you love life in every second. Anyway, it's something growing, but the first thing is sorting out my time for my creativity in a smaller house. So watch this space. Okay, let's see what happens. If it grows or not, I will let you know. So Denise has free time available. All right, I don't know how to set up these groups. My kids are very good at it. Well, Karen, we could maybe expand the time on Wednesdays to give like a half an hour just or another process so that whoever wants to stay could stay for the chat. Let's think about it over the week. Anyone have any suggestions? Message me. Hopefully I'll find the messages, because I was really having trouble this week. Anyway, I think the inner process is really calling me. And so, okay, wonderful people, it's that time of the evening that we have to say ta-da. Okay, Verby, let's figure out, maybe Denise, we can figure out how to set up a separate group chat, maybe. I'm very happy with that, Julie. There's so much more about that whole process, but it takes you to work with yourself, so that we have to come to your identification is more on the inner process of who you are, and there's a purpose for knowing everyone in your life, but you have to come out of attachment, I suppose, to the past and to the now, but we don't have enough time right now to take that deeper. It's an inner process. I'm glad, Verby. This is one of the intentions, I hope, that will help all of you. And really what it means is that you're coming to be the conductor of your anxiety. That's what I want to empower you to realize, that you have the power of choice, and how you live. Little by little, it will grow. More and more is taking the time to love yourself. And with that, my special friends, I will say ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. It's time to go. Have a good week. And thank you for coming. Lots of love. Stay in the light and work on loving yourself. Take time to be with you.